This is the Universal Wrestling Podcast. Inside the ring, outside the ring, it's all here.
We're talking about the greatest sport of all, professional wrestling.
Come on! And now, here's Nick and Keith.
Riddle came after, but...
buddy, baby. So get this, Keith. According to Cagematch, the Internet Wrestling Database, these are the 5 top WWE matches ever. Now, you hear top 5 and you're like, okay, that makes sense. But top 5 matches ever in the history of the world wrestling entertainment, let's discuss it. So
for sure,
you'll see it. We'll see it on the screen. But it'll pop up and you'll see the top 5 matches. Keith, let's start with number 1. This is in order from 1 to 5. I don't know. Does that really matter? Let's see. According to Cagematch, the Internet Wrestling Database. Yeah, I would think so. What do you think?
I would assume it's like ranked, because that was like one of the when you like sent this to me before here, it was like surprised me because like I tend to put like a decent amount of stock in what Cagematch says, because like Cagematch is, you know, like you or I could go on there now and pick a show from like 2008 and be like, oh my God, blah, 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 and it'll like affect the rankings from where that show sits and stuff and everything.
Yeah.
So it's like fan opinionated. It's not just like Meltzer or someone else like needling their way in. So like I tend to put a lot of stock in there, but like this definitely had me raising eyebrows a little bit. I don't know.
Yeah.
So I would assume it is number 1 is the top voted, and then down the line.
Oh, really?
I think that would be my guess. I don't know. I don't know how
we'll look into
they went about this here.
Well, then let's not do number 1. Let's do number 5, and then
start at 5.
Number 5. CM Punk versus John Cena. Yes, Money in the Bank 2011. I feel like this should be on the list, but top 5 and greatest matches ever. Right. I don't think that is. I guess the story was there. Yes, I think the story, if it's going to be like top 5 stories of all time, I think Punk taking the title and leaving, and that whole everything with Vince and Cena, and I don't have to go into it. We've all watched it. The match was not great. I don't think any Cena or Punk match was amazing, but maybe this list is, it says WWE matches ever, so I would have to think it's the match itself, like in ring, and it wasn't amazing. But Keith, let's hear it. What do you got?
Yeah, no, I'm right there with you. Like I think this is kind of the one that like gave me the most like pause looking over the list, because it's like it's weird, and then we'll get into the rest of them to see why it's like more weird. But it's like this is a really great match, like you just said, because of like the story behind it, and I'm leaving the WWE with the championship, and he wins, and he goes into the crowd and all that and everything. Yeah, and like
blows the kiss and all that shit.
Exactly, but I mean, like in terms of like the in-ring action of just spoiler, it's not on this list, but like everybody talks about like Macho Man Ricky Steamboat WrestleMania 3 and the technicality and how great it was in ring and all this kind of stuff, and like this compared to that, like no, not really. And again, like in ring compared to some of the other stuff we're going to talk about on here, like I don't think it was really there with that. I do think it's amazing for the story, but like that's what I mean is like it's weird. It's like, well, this is a top rated one, and it's totally something that in my opinion is way more story based than like action based, whereas like later ones that are going higher are action based. So it's like, well, what are we working at here? Because if it's like my top 5 would probably look not maybe vastly different, but like my own personal top 5, like from a story perspective and from like an in-ring perspective, we're going to be different to some extent.
Sammy KO 1, Sammy KO 2, Sammy KO 3.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Those are both. Those spoiler. Those are on both, no matter what. But then other stuff.
Yeah, I'm with you. I mean, in ring, it was just an okay match. Storyline with the whole, like I brought up, blowing the kiss and waving, and Vince's reaction, and Vince's trying to stop Punk from leaving, and then just I don't know, just a really really good storyline. Match wise, I mean, it was fine. Yeah, exactly.
I think this is the one when Punk did the pile driver when like no one else was supposed to be doing them and stuff. So like that was cool, but
yeah. Let's get to number Number 4. Now this one should be on the list.
Absolutely.
Bret Hart versus Stone Cold Steve Austin at WrestleMania 13. I'm glad this made the list. It's number 4. Again, this is what should be on the list. A wrestling match that is a wrestling match. That's not all about the story. Yes, the story was big. Yes, it was part of, what made this match as great as it is. It was at WrestleMania. That helps. Again, the storyline, that helps. The bleeding, the drama, that helps. But if you're just taking all that away and you got Bret and Stone Cold in the ring going one-on-one, it was a good wrestling match. That's how you have to look at it, in my opinion. But
for sure,
Cagematch data or the internet, it's on the internet. What can you expect? But talk to me. I mean, this is
feel like good. This one is something. This is one that this blends them. I feel like, because this one was very storyline. This is very, or not storyline, but very story entrenched, because this was the double turn. Stone Cold was full blown heel up to this point. Bret Hart came in as the face, and then that everybody knows the shot of Stone Cold's bleeding from his head, and the sharpshooter just screaming, and he passes out, and Bret won't let go because he's going heel. Stone Cold has the baby face turn that way, but then still, I think everybody forgets, when Stone Cold goes to leave, the ref's holding the ropes for him, and the fucking Stone Cold gives him the stunner anyway. It's awesome. So it was very storyline that way, but it's also just a really awesome match. And I feel like there's so much that's forgotten about, just random stuff, because this was early in Stone Cold. He wasn't feuding with Vince or anything like that. He was just about to become
the god.
The god of the 90s of wrestling.
Yep.
And but he wasn't there yet. So this was a submission match, and it was submission. Bret Hart, sharpshooter, of course.
Yeah.
It's Stone Cold. None of us think of Stone Cold with a submission, but his submission for it was the friggin' $1 million dream, because he was still being attached to being the ringmaster with the $1 Million Man when he first came in, and that weird shit. So there was a ton that just happened in this, the double turn, that being touched on with $1 Million Man and all this kind of random shit, and then it just being a really good match, and the blood, and again, you can't have a match not be in a top 5 that they use for so many promotional things regarding Stone Cold. That Stone Cold gets brought up, that picture comes up at some point.
Yeah. I mean, could this be the greatest match in WWE history? I mean, it could be. I mean, it's on the list here at number 4.
Yeah. I mean,
it could be 1 or 2. I mean, we'll get into our thoughts on, what should be number 1 once we get there. But this match almost didn't even happen too, so putting that into the mix and having that be a factor, it's holy shit, this match would have never happened. I don't know. Again, I'll go back to what I've said in the beginning. It's all about in-ring for me when it comes to rating a match. We're not Dave Meltzer. We're not the wrestling database of all IWC, Cage/UFC, whatever. But I agree. It should be on the list. Top 5, 110%. Number 4, I don't know.
Yeah.
But 3 and 1 on this list, it's really interesting. Let's get to number 3. It's Dragunov versus Walter, TakeOver 36.
Mm-hmm.
This is a match. It's a matinee. This is where you sit down. It's like a clinic and you watch it. This is the match you show your friends a long night after drinking, after you get back from 4 or 5 breweries, you go back to the apartment. Oh, wait, I've done this before. Yes.
Yeah.
And you show this exact match to your buddies and they're just holy shit. I mean, wow, this is really cool. I mean, they're not wrestling fans, but as a wrestling fan, that's, you always wanted to, show your buddies.
At first, the first couple of minutes, they're just dude, again, we're doing this. And then the more beers come out, and as they're drinking, they're just oh my God, he's really beating up that little guy. Oh,
you sure God. Is this real, dude?
Yeah.
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 Let's hear it.
Nah, I mean, come on. Walter matches are like KO and Sammy. I mean, I love the guy. He can do almost no wrong in my mind.
Yeah.
This was a great one. This is when Dragunov takes the title off him, breaks his huge. He had a shit. What was it? 600 and some odd.
I was so against it too.
500 or 600 some odd day reign as the NXT UK champion.
I was so against it.
The pandemic helped a lot of that, but still, you know, big like historical ramifications just for that kind of piece. Like at that point, that was like the longest title reign any of us had seen in God knows how long. Yeah, you know, that they would reference on TV at least, because I think Punk did like 600 or something with the WWE title, but they weren't talking about him at all because he was pariah then. So like, yeah, just like a crazy match. This was a good one too, where like I had like both of these guys were dudes that like I had heard about through like wrestling podcasts and nonsense like I would watch and listen to and stuff. And I had, by the time this match like came around, like I knew Walter Gunther like well enough and was like, cool. And I'd heard a bunch about Dragunov being like, dude, he's like just like him. He's just kind of smaller, but I didn't really see anything. I never watched I didn't, and nobody else fucking watched NXT UK. Yeah. So like I didn't really know, and I didn't do the research of his indie stuff online or anything. But like I watched this and just like, oh my God, and became a huge fan. And I love the Dragunovs. Like they're both still going, honestly, right now. Like I can't wait for Dragunov to get to the main roster and to run it back again.
And that was the whole thing too. Like this whole entire feud happened on the WWE Network, where no one watched it. I mean, it was cool to say, yo, do you watch NXT UK? You know, it was like the little engine that could, and it did really well. I really enjoyed it. But that's it. That's where it's like, that's what made this something a little bit bigger, because you knew about Walter's reign, you knew about the streak, and you didn't really watch it, you know, unless you saw maybe clips that NXT showed that night of NXT, like a preview or recap. But going to the NXT main roster, I guess for UK guys, NXT TakeOver 36, and this was pretty much the match. I mean, I don't know, I can't think of any other matches on the card, and it was just something special. But for this one, you kind of knew Walter was going to lose. I don't know. What did you think? Did you have any idea, or did you just, you know, you're in it, you wanted to see what would happen?
No, I'm with you. I thought, sorry, I'm trying to find the TakeOver 36 card because I feel like it was a good one, but I want to say it anyway. Yeah, no, I'm right there with you. I thought I figured it was going to happen because, again, with like at the time and not like knowing what we look at now with like title reigns and stuff, like this was the longest thing we had seen for a while. And I was just like, they're going to take it off them because like I feel like people are going to get bored with it. You know, they got to make some moves. NXT UK was dying at that point, like legitimately dying, not like, you know, oh, it's crap. Like it was just like it's going away.
What year was this? 2021.
Yeah. What else do we have on here?
Yeah. Joe and Cross, O'Reilly and Adam Cole, Gonzalez and Dakota Kai. So it was kind of blah. I mean, when you have Cross main eventing, not that it's a bad thing at all.
Cross Joe wasn't a good one. This is when Joe was when Cross was going downhill. The KO and the Kyle O'Reilly and Adam Cole match was solid. The two.
Did you say KO?
I did.
No, Kevin Owens.
KOR Cole match.
Yeah. This is on the list, and again, top 5 ever. I don't know, but this is on my top 10. I mean, maybe it's in there. Maybe top 15, maybe top 20.
I would have it in my top 10 probably, but
top 10, because I don't think it was an amazing match. I think it was the best match on the card, and it was good to see Dragunov win. But I don't know if it's a Walter match. You know, we'll get to that match. But let's get to number 2. And we were both there for this TakeOver Philadelphia, Andrade going one-on-one with Johnny Gargano. This match was special. This match was something that you're like, am I seeing this? Is this really happening in, person? We were there, but I'll shut up because you bring this match up often, and I think you have a lot to say. So let's hear it. This is number 2 on the list from Cagematch. This is top 5 WWE matches of all time. This is number 2. Let's hear it, Keithy.
Yeah, no, it was the Andrade and Gargano. I like you just kind of said it was like one of those that like being there. I just remember watching, just being like, this is gonna be a thing. Like this is gonna be a match that like they'll talk about. Like like I'm sure it's the same way for Japanese wrestling fans who were there for like Omega Okada 1, 2, and 3 and 4 and whatever, and all those big ones, people that were at Money in the Bank, John Cena, CM Punk, and everything, like just being like, this is a big thing, this is a big match people are going to talk about for a while, and I'm here to see it live, and that's crazy. And this is where like Andrade like became Andrade, like if that makes any sense. Like this is where he started his impressive reign in NXT. It was short-lived, but go ahead, Keith. No, this is when he had Zelina and everything too as his manager. I'm pretty sure she hits a Hurricane Rana on Johnny off the apron at one point when the ref's not looking. Like she gets involved with it. There's just some crazy shit. I mean, like the thumbnail for it is Andrade doing a friggin' moonsault off the apron onto Gargano, who's moving away. So Andrade's about to eat shit on the outside. Just a lot of just wild stuff. And I do remember, like, I remember watching it, being there live and just being like, this is crazy. Like, this is a really good match. Oh my God. And then obviously there was stuff after with Ciampa and all. And then like rewatching it, like watching the whole, cause I watched the pay-per-view or whatever, like a couple days after on the network, because when I got there, I was there and I got in a little bit late. So I missed like a good chunk of the opening match. Exactly, in the parking lot. Yeah. A few golden monkeys in the parking lot. But when I got in, I think it was the opening match was like AOP and Undisputed Era for the tag titles. And it was like AOP 2/3 of the way through, give or take. So like I missed a good chunk of that. I was like, I want to see what that was like. So then I just watched the whole thing. And was watching it again with the commentary was just bro, it's just so much more dramatic. It's amazing. It was so cool to like be part of that. So like I would have this on my list, but like we were kind of talking about this before. Like I would have this on my possibly top 5, maybe not 2, but I'd have it on my top 5. But I think so much that is because like I was there and like I experienced it. That was what I was going to bring up next. I feel that way with Joe and Shinsuke, in Brooklyn. But I go back and watch it, and it's just, I was hyped. I was hyped for the violinist that came out for the first time. But when I go back and watch it, I'm like, it was just an okay match. I mean, the whole thing of, Shinsuke winning, that was really cool. But it wasn't great. It wouldn't have been one of my top 5 matches. I mean, I always talk about it because, I don't know, being there and all that was really cool. But, yeah, I'm with you. I think despite it being one of NXT's, best matches, I don't think it's on the list. Top 5, maybe top 10, maybe top 15 for me, but this is not a top 5 list for me. I mean, I don't know. I mean, it was great. Andrade had his coming out party. Vega looked great. And of course, Johnny Gargano, beloved in Philadelphia. I mean, Johnny just that, TakeOver, baby. That alone, is really cool. But top 5, I don't know. I need to find out who these guys are. Maybe we'll have Cagematch on our podcast and just talk about it, because I don't know why. I mean, again, this would be on your top 5, top 10. It'd probably be in my top 5.
And you're thinking maybe that's, you were there, you had fun, you were drinking,
right? Some of it is exactly. Yeah. The same way I talk about that Progress show that I went to that was probably not that great. It just at the time it was like, oh man, live wrestling, small place, seeing these cool ass people. Yeah. But it's interesting because like this one, it's funny too because like I know all the ones we talked about so far obviously have like their own like star ratings and stuff, but like this was one of the first WWE like 5-star matches. Meltzer gave it 5 stars in like a long time that year. Yeah. So like even the big boys thought like this was amazing and everything, and it was a really, really good match. Like I don't want to talk shit on it, but like I mean, we're about to get to number 1 in a second here, but like after that, we're going to talk about just like how many other like just like glaring omissions there are on this that like, you know, that these ones beat out in some way, and it's kind of like crazy.
Yeah, I just pulled up TJR Wrestling. I don't know if this is reliable, but he did say this is a full 5-star by Wrestling Observer's Dave Meltzer. And he said, if we take this rating at face value, therefore this match is better than Punk Cena at Money in the Bank 2011, Cena Bryan at SummerSlam 2013, Cena and Styles at 2017. So yeah, omissions. I think
Kurt Angle match.
Yeah.
Kurt Angle never got a 5-star match in WWE.
Yeah. So if there's an omission, I think it might be this match. Yes. In NXT history, this was a good match. You know, absolutely. Being there live, that's really cool. But top 5, where's that "Come On Man" clip? I need. Come on, man. Let's get to number 1. Yeah. We talked about them before. They are on the list at number 3 for TakeOver 36. It is Dragunov going one-on-one with Still Walter, NXT UK. Yep. Keith, I'm going to let you go because I have a lot to say about this. This is one of my favorite matches. Yeah. This should be on the list. It should not be number 1, but it should be on the list. Keith, take it away, brother.
Yeah, no, you know, I don't want to steal too much from you, so I'm going to let you shine in a minute or two here. But yeah, that's so. Again, like you said, I don't know that this one or even 36 should be like on top 5, maybe beating out some other ones, but both are solid. I was so happy though that this is number 1 over 36s because this one, I'd said before I didn't really watch NXT UK. Yeah. I can honestly say that like outside of this match, I might have watched like 1 full episode of NXT UK, maybe. I'm pretty sure it was when British Strong Style won the NXT tag belts from Undisputed Era for like a day. But outside of that, I never watched a full episode of it. And I remember watching this match and just being like, oh my God, like the fact that it happened during a pandemic too, like, there's so many matches I feel like we can talk about from that time that are just like, like it suffered because it was the pandemic. Drew winning the title, like big WrestleMania moment to Performance Center people in the Performance Center. Like that sucks, you know, like it really took away from it. This, I feel like while a crowd would have been awesome for it, it was so much like it sounded so much more brutal without the crowd because, you know, Walter has his chops, man. Like literally he does his chops. And like it just like they would literally echo in there. Like he would nail Dragunov with one and you would just hear it again like 2 seconds later. And like the stills that come out. I didn't watch it live when this match happened. Yeah. But I remember to this day the picture someone on Twitter had posted of the one where he's got Dragunov in front of him and he comes around with like one of those in him and it's a big imprint in him. Yeah. Like you can see Dragunov's skin like rippling up around it and it's already beat red. And just like, dude, like, yes, this is what I want to see. It's the go for it. Take it over because goddamn.
You know, I talk about this a lot. Yes, the storyline grabs me. Yes, if I had to do one or the other, I would probably go storyline just because of, you know, that's the kind of wrestling I love. But for this specific match, I mean, this was everything. I mean, from, you know, Nigel on commentary to even the ref, like he just, again, when you talk about no crowd and the ref, that ref needs to be a factor in the match because there's nothing. It's not crickets because this is such a good match and it's so intense, but that's important. The ref is important. The commentary is important. Every little aspect of a match when it comes to the pandemic era with nobody in there, nobody in the studio. It's just, that is wrestling at its finest. And oh shit, I forgot about the match. I mean, this match wasn't just, we talked about the TakeOver match, and I really thought that was amazing. But this should be on the list. I don't know, number 1 or number 2, but the brutality, I mean, just everything about this match is my kind of wrestling. Yes, again, Keith, I love the storylines.
Yeah.
I even enjoy the flips every now and then. I enjoy the promos and the storytelling in the ring. But I might get some beef for this. I don't think there was a lot of storytelling in the ring. I think it was just more of brutality, brute force of just, I'm going to F you up and that's it. Maybe that is the storyline, so maybe I'm leaving that out. But it proves to you that Gunther, Walter back in the day, is just the guy that's going to carry us into the future.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if he's going to be the IC champion for much longer or the Universal Undisputed Raw's champion, whatever championship you want to give him. I think if we're going to look at anything, and do you have anything else before we get to our opinions and other thoughts? I just think maybe I'm getting a little too far ahead of myself, but
no, you're good,
I think
man.
if we look at anything on this list or about this list, I mean, the guy is there. It's Walter. Yeah. It's Gunther. I think that's a big takeaway on my point of view from this list, but let's get to it. What do you got?
He's a believable world beater. He's like a Brock Lesnar, but he wants to and actively shows up there every week.
Yeah.
Like he comes in and, like I can, we've talked about in the past about, like Roman's like title and reign and everything. And it's like, yeah, I can believably see Gunther beating Roman Reigns. Yes, I can.
Yes. Exactly.
Yes, I can absolutely see him beating Seth Rollins. Any of your name your top person. Oh my God, I want to see him and Brock Lesnar before Brock Lesnar like probably hangs it up pretty soon. Yeah. I need to see that. I want to see them just beat the absolute piss out of each other. And it would break the Meltzer scale.
Yeah,
it would be a 10-star match.
Oh, baby.
Easily. Exactly. He would just he'd have it short and just die.
Yeah.
The guy can do no wrong. And I think it's important. Like, it's cool that this is number 1 on here. Again, I don't know that it should be number 1 necessarily. It's definitely really high up there for me. But like, it's so cool that it's that in this world where like the flips and the everything are the big thing, when it's like that helps matches like this stand out. Like, neither one of them ever go to the top rope, I don't think, through the whole match, especially at this time, because this is back when Walter was, pot calling the kettle black, but he was like chubbier. He was a bigger dude then. He wasn't like as fit as he is now. Yeah. So he was just this powerhouse, just like he didn't need to come off the top rope. He's just like, I'm going to literally snap you in half when I chop you.
Yeah.
And, went from there. Amazing.
Yeah.
Absolutely amazing.
I think there was something to be said too, as much as, you hear it back and forth every now and then with podcasters, Drew didn't have that moment. He did, I think I'm going down a different path here, but what I'm trying to say is you don't need the crowd. I mean, look at what happened here. Mm-hmm. I mean, this got both over. I think this really helped Walter, in recent memory, Walter is just that, with Gunther, the IC champion. No one can mess with him. No one can go one-on-one. No one, in my opinion, can beat him legitimately. And that's kind of how you felt with this one too. And it helped Dragunov. I just think I'm missing NXT UK. I know, again, I'm going down a different avenue here, but let's scratch that for another time, another day. Keith, top 5. Let's maybe not your top 5, but what should make the list here?
Yeah.
And WWE only. Let's hear it.
So I never remember which one was the better like rated one, but at least one of those two Undertaker
yes.
Michaels matches from WrestleMania 25 and 26 or 26 and 27, maybe it was.
Was it back to back?
I thought they definitely did back to back ones.
Okay, then it
but
was
I want to say it was 25, 26. It might have been 26, 27 though.
25.
And I feel like maybe the first one was
26.
the one that everyone says is better. I think the 25 is the one everyone says is better. Either way, whichever one it is.
Yeah, both should be.
One of those, at least one of those should be on this list. Absolutely. That's one of those other random like Meltzer ones where like Meltzer didn't give that 5 stars, and like everyone and their mother is just like, how did he not? With like, because again, from you're looking at like, granted they were both getting a little bit more on in their years at that point, but like you're looking at two of like the greatest to step in the ring from our like childhood with stuff that could still go.
Yeah.
So like ring work already is great because it's Shawn Michaels and it's the Undertaker. And then just the story with it, this is one of I'm pretty sure it's the first one is where the one comes of like Taker's like laying on Michaels just like,
oh yeah,
after he kicks out like again. It's like the second or third tombstone that Michaels takes and he gets out again. Yeah. And then Michaels is like crawling up him to stand up to be like, let's go, and does like
exactly.
Like I don't know how that wasn't part of this. That was the main one that stuck out in my head. I mentioned Steamboat Macho Man from WrestleMania 3 earlier. Honestly, I watched that match like a year or two ago, and like it's good, but I'm like, maybe just because it's like from the 80s and like we live in a different time now. But it's like I can definitely see in the 80s being like, what the hell? But like,
well, that's how I feel.
Modern glasses, it's kind of like, okay, it's pretty solid. It's a pretty good match.
Yeah, that's how I feel with the Ramon and Michaels ladder match. I mean, it was big, but it's like, okay. But it should be
ladder matches. Old ladder matches are always going to be like tough because like we got to live through. We've had TLCs and stuff now, and like it's like
I mean,
jokes with it then.
What other matches? I mean. We don't have a list here, but just run it down. If it like pops out, like maybe Rumble 92. I mean, that's not a great match. Maybe
everyone
that's more of a great moment. Yeah.
I
mean, you got a lot of Cactus Jack. You got a lot of Jericho.
I think
Benoit and Angle.
We were kind of saying earlier, like I think the tough part of it is like, for me, it's like there's such a difference between like, oh, this is like a greatest of all time match for me because of like how they work in the ring.
Yeah, you were there or something.
i.e. Walter Dragunov at the NXT UK one. There's not like a ton of story being told there, but like the work in ring is like, holy hell, I want to watch this.
Yeah, it's like amazing.
Where on the other hand, like I love to the point of like I wanted to like start a sleeve on my arm. I love Undertaker Mankind Hell in a Cell. Like I want to have Taker throwing him off the cell to like start a sleeve up here.
That's
like I love that match, and they got to take him out, and then he pushes off, and he's got the deranged look, and he's coming back down, and like, just oh my god, work rate wise, it's not great at all. Mick Foley, I mean, Mankind he's never been like the best worker in the world. He's really good, but like he's a bigger dude, so he can't move around as much. Taker had a friggin' broken foot during it, so like he can't really do a whole lot. It's kind of like plotting at points, but just like. They friggin' start the match on top of the cell. Like, it's amazing. It's a friggin' spectacle to watch. Like,
I mean,
that is absolutely up there in mine. Like, that is absolutely in the top 5 for me, even though it's by no means like a clinic of a match or like anything to learn. It's just, it's psychotic. It's psychotic for the sake of psychotic.
Yeah. And it's kind of like, what I brought up with the Gunther and Dragunov #1 match. I mean, it's just a commentary. I mean, come on. I mean, that lives on. JR's commentary in that match. I mean, Dory coming out. I mean, just everything. He just, is it really reality? That's, that's where wrestling and entertainment hit, that line. And that's exactly, that was on the line or maybe a little bit over. Michaels, Angle, WrestleMania 21. I mean, you got, and there's just tons of matches. I don't think we've ever discussed this, but if I'm putting you on the spot, tell me now, what is your #1 match? Again, it doesn't have to have 5 stars. I mean, you discussed it. Maybe you've already said it with the match with Mankind, Mick Foley, and Taker. But what's your #1 match of all time? What can you put on over and over and over again? Maybe, maybe not every wrestling fan likes that match, but it's your match and you watch it at least once a year.
I would probably say that Mankind Undertaker Hell in a Cell.
I love it.
I love it. I love it to death. Everything about it. Even from, like you just said, like from the everything that goes on down even to the commentary. There's everyone and their mother to this day in modern wrestling. When there's a big spot, there's by God, he's been broken in half. They use it in like college football stuff.
Yeah.
Like it's surpassed even wrestling.
It's pop culture.
And not even just that amazing call by JR. There's such an underrated line. I'm pretty sure it's when he goes through the cell from the Taker powerbomb, I think it is. He goes through the cell top and hits the ring. And it's so quick. The Lawler just goes, that's it, he's dead. Before JR says something else and it keeps going. But Lawler just without missing, he just goes, that's it, he's dead. Like it was so that is absolutely my top match. Like I just talked myself back into it. There's a lot of other ones. I want to hear yours also, but just going back thinking of like other omissions, just for like the sake of like inclusion, I absolutely feel like Sasha Banks, Bianca Belair from 33, 32, somewhere in that region, 35 maybe it was. That absolutely could have been over some of them. I would take that over a John Cena CM Punk. No offense to either one, but that match was incredible. Yeah. And for the historicness of it being like, the first two like black women like having a main event on a night of WrestleMania. Like
that alone. Yeah.
That part of it, and then just how great the match was. She does the gorilla press up the steps and throws her in. The friggin' hair whip that you like see the welt across Sasha's stomach like immediately. Like, holy shit.
Yeah.
But your top, regardless of ratings and everyone else.
Yeah. Yep. Keith, WrestleMania 24. I'm sorry. Yeah. I love you. Ric Flair going one-on-one with Shawn Michaels. And it's cliche maybe to a lot of people to have two of the best, wrestlers of all time in a match and it being your number one match. But everything about it, man, the Flair entrance, the storyline, both of my favorite, JR there. I think they asked him to come in. I don't know if that was for this match, but he was there. It's just everything. It being WrestleMania, it being Ric Flair's last match, like just the storyline alone and, tuning up the band. And even the camera work was just something special. I mean, showing, I don't even know if that was planned. I don't know if that was in the script, but, give that cameraman a raise there, buddy. Just showing a distraught, old man, old yeller, Ric Flair on his knees, trying his hardest to get up. Just, that's it, man.
He does the
goosebumps,
Yeah. That's another one. Absolutely should be on the list.
Absolutely.
Again, I would put that over Cena Punk.
Yeah. And I think maybe it's not on the list just because it's so cliche. It's so like, well, of course that should be on the list. It's Shawn Michaels and Ric Flair at WrestleMania. I think one more match, and I don't know if it's just because I don't think it's because I was there, but you gotta go SummerSlam 2016. AJ Styles going one-on-one with John Cena. Just phenomenal. I mean,
that was a big one too.
You don't really think Cena can do it. You don't really think Cena has the get up, go power to go one-on-one with the phenomenal one. But I mean, after 2016, after that match, I know why Cole calls him the greatest of all time. I don't agree with it, but I think there's a reason why he's, one or two on Mount Rushmore.
Well, in that one, that one was very much too like the golden boys of like TNA and WWE, like the competition at that time. Which with you bringing that up, it just like jogged my memory. Another one, again, not at all from the in-ring aspect of it, but another one that could be in the talk for like getting toward top 5, maybe top 10. Fucking Rock Hogan, WrestleMania 18.
Oh my God.
The icon of old, the icon of new, like the story, that was another one where that's like something you show wrestlers to be like, this is how you listen to and read and adapt to a crowd. Yeah. Because as the match went on, everyone and their mother started cheering Hogan. So then Rock's like, cool, I'm going heel now. Fuck you. Let's go. I'm going to smack you. I'm going to do whatever. I'm going to make I'm going to go heel here. And then they still have a handshake at the end. Like, good Lord, man. You know?
Yeah.
So, and it was, I mean, not to the same necessary, like, hype or level or whatever it is that Rock Hogan was. But, like, Cena Styles was like the same kind of idea. Styles was the TNA guy for the most part, like leading up to it. Like everyone until, I mean, nowadays it might be a little bit different, but at that time, if you said AJ Styles, you'd be like, oh yeah, the guy that was in TNA for a while, X Division, da, 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 da. And Cena obviously was WWE and whatever else he was doing. And then, to have them go at it. And now they're going to be teaming with each other here very soon.
Yeah. Look at that. Yeah. There's a lot of good modern matches too that, you know, what is this? We're almost 40 minutes into it. And me and Keith said, you know, let's do 20 minutes and we'll be done. But there's a lot of modern matches you can discuss too. I mean, from just last year to this year with Gunther and I mean, Cody, we could talk about Cody and Seth and, you know, there's just a lot of matches here, but we're not going to get into it. This was a lot of fun going back down memory lane, talking about greatest matches of in WWE history. I agree with a lot of them. I don't agree with all of them. But Keith, let's take it home, baby. Where can the people find you?
I'm on Twitter at Keith of the Ring, Instagram at _Keith of the Ring, and on TikTok at Keith of the Ring. Even though I haven't been doing much there, I'm trying to get it back. I'm just finishing up some school, so like don't have a lot of time. I'm writing a paper, but I'm getting there. I'll get back on there soon.
Yep. Yes, sir. And you can find us right here on the Fanatics Network, the TFN, the FN Network, and of course, UW Pod on Twitter and at the UW Podcast on Instagram. We'll see you next time right here on the UW Pod. Peace.